Storytime with Tom Foolery presents Flushing Avenue Fred, Final Farts, written by J. Long. As a criminal, Fred was quite clean. He was careful at every crime scene. Fred never left behind fingerprints, skin particles, or hair, but he often left a pungent fart hang in the air. There was always a strong chance that the canine unit would follow the fragrance on Fred's underpants and trace his scent wherever he went. Fred had spent last Christmas in the clink, but was left out in January because of the stink that he created within the prison walls. The warden had received many angry calls and lengthy letters begging him to make the smell better. It was hell to be in the same cell as a man with an infinite supply of gas that would bring a tear to your eye. Fred was growing tired of getting tracked down. He promised himself that he would no longer let his undies get so brown. If he was to pursue this career in crime, he'd have to improve his methods with time. He'd take more frequent showers to stay fresh for long hours. Fred would use underarm and underbutt spray to keep the police pooches away. Next, he'd have to clean up his diet to keep his farts quiet and prevent them from stinking. Fred would also have to watch what he was drinking. He was going to rule out cheese, eggs, and smoky bacon potato chips. None of these foods could touch his lips. Beans also were obviously a big no-no. They'd make even the politest person's gas flow. He had a big job in mind, for which he was primed. June the 4th was the fateful date on which he could not flatulate. It was due to be a big heist, a collection of jewelry that was high-priced, and some bars of gold, more valuables than his arms could hold. Fred was quite thrilled that he had become so skilled in suppressing his farts. He had fart suppression down to a fine art. Fred's house had become a laundrette in order to combat the skid marks and sweat that had built up on his every underpants. He was preparing for his next job well in advance. June the 4th came around quite fast. Fred didn't want to end up in court like he had in the past. He arrived at the job by subway car. In his bag was his trusted crowbar. He'd have to disarm the building's rather high-tech alarm. Once the alarm had been disconnected, Fred jimmied open a door. It was precious jewels, watches, and gold bars he collected, till he could carry no more. To Fred's dismay, he farted on the stairway, as he descended the fire escape, releasing a squeaker that smelled strongly of grape. Fred removed his boxer shorts quickly and threw them on a passing truck. He could escape the police slickly, with any luck. He took the subway home, knowing the police dogs' mouths would foam when they'd pick up that fruity smell. Would they track him? Who could tell? The truck owner woke with a yawn to find dozens of cops out on his lawn. Under the police helicopter's glare, he caught sight of the soiled underwear. By Pilgrim Hill, in Central Park, with impressive skill, the loot was concealed in the dark. The NYPD was in an awkward position. At the trucker's house, the trail had gone dead, but the cops had their suspicions that the underwear might belong to Fred. In Fred's apartment, there remained a few precious gems. To outwit the police department, he had buried the rest of them. Through a megaphone, Fred heard the police were about to raid. He swallowed every precious stone with some fresh lemonade. Fred was strip-searched. His apartment was torn asunder as the police looked for the valuable plunder. Though at the crime scene he had farted, for once the police had been outsmarted. But when they left, he felt terribly ill. For hours he sat on the toilet until he let out a series of moans and passed the precious stones. Though he was a known convict, he managed to sell the gems in the Diamond District. Fred wouldn't spend the cash on himself, though, but on a disabled girl in his borough who needed a leg built of titanium that would cost a tidy sum. The buried bag of swag wouldn't be used to buy glad rags. The community centre was in need of renovation, and Fred would buy some gastric medication. The smelly end. Flushing Avenue, Fred. Final Farts. Written by J. Long. Narrated by Tom Foolery. A very special thank you to J. Long for sending us this story. So is he the one that did the rhyme that did the crime? It's because of whoever smelt it dealt it. We didn't smell it, but J. Long did the rhyme, so the evidence is there. Let us know in the comments section your favourite synonym for farting. That should be fun. Fart, of course, is from the Latin fartus, which means to emit wind from the anus. And, of course, farting around on trivial or silly things. Appropriate. See you next time!